welcome back to WagerTalk.com. I'm Marco D'Angelo, joined in studio with my good friend Brian Leonard. And if you watched any of the other videos that we did this week, yes, I drew the short straw this week, and I got Brian. But, you know, hey, what can I say?
I want to apologize for being late. I showed up with the same outfit as Kelly in Vegas had on, and obviously Kelly Stewart looks a lot better than I do. So.
Yeah, absolutely there, Brian. But let's get back to business here. And we got an NFL game this week. We got St. Louis and Washington. This is going to be my best bet. And I actually already had people tweeting at me saying, is this going to be the fat and sassy call going against St. Louis? And I'm going to actually shock people that I am going to go against St. Louis, or I'm going to go with St. Louis instead of against them, even though they're coming off that monumental win beating Seattle. Because, Brian, I looked at that game, watched that game, and some things I saw I really like about this St. Louis team. And one of them, straight and foremost, is their character, because they led that whole game and then gave up the lead late. And most teams, you know, when you're the underdog and you blow the lead late like that, especially to a good team like Seattle, you're not coming back. They managed to come back, send it into overtime, and then, it's a whole nother story with, Pete Carroll going with an onside kick in overtime. God bless him. That's one way to get him to forget about the Super Bowl play call. But they got the job done. So a lot of people look to want to go against them this week. I'm not going to do it. You got any thoughts before I really break it down?
Well, St. Louis has got a really good team. A lot of people that I respect picked St. Louis to do very well this year. Keep in mind, though, that Seattle's got a lot of problems right now. So I think Seattle's a little bit overrated going into that game. And if you take a look at Washington, last week was the game that Washington really should have showed up. If you saw the 49ers on Monday Night Football, that was the game they'd circled. They wanted to come out and show they were better than what everybody giving them credit for. And Washington was the same way. Washington should have come out last week and played a great game. They did not. So now we have a situation where if they couldn't get up for last week's game, will they be able to get up for this week's game? And as I pointed out, St. Louis is one of those teams. I love him in the dog role. Fisher's always been a terrific dog. Now he's a road favorite. I don't know if we get that much value on him, but I'll tell you, I won't be on the Redskins here.
Well, there's a lot of people that are just because of the numbers will be on the Redskins and go with look for the letdown, but I'm going to agree with you 100%. And this play is as much going with St. Louis for me as it is going against Washington. I want no part of Washington. And to me, as long as RG3 is standing on the sidelines, he's a distraction to this team. I don't understand what they're doing. And Kirk Cousins, he's not a starting quarterback in the NFL. He's a backup quarterback, and he's average at that at best. He's not going to lead this team. And St. Louis, they finally got a quarterback. They went out and traded, made the trade, got Nick Foles. He didn't, he had a great game last week, threw for just under 300 yards. It was 18 of 27 for 297. I like what he did. You can look and say, well, Cousins put up decent numbers. He completed 21 passes, but only 197 yards. He's not spreading the field out. And I think St. Louis will be able to get some pressure on him, and I see him making some mistakes. And Miami, their offense last week, they're not an offense that threatens anybody. You don't look at that offense and say, oh, how are we going to stop them? So this Washington defense looked better than they were last week, giving up the number of points they did. They're going to get exposed this week because I like all of the options that this St. Louis offense has.
Yeah, St. Louis is, like I said, this is a team that's sneaking under the radar right now. I think they lost some value by beating Seattle last week. It would have been nicer for our point if they lose that game. But, Washington right now, it's going to be tough for the lines makers to make these lines high enough on the Redskins because, as you mentioned, they've really got three third-string quarterbacks, second string at best, and so they really have nobody to run this offense.
No, absolutely not. And every year, they talk about it endlessly week 2 because let's face it, half of the league lost. That's a fact. It's going to happen. So you get everybody talking about the 0-2 teams, and you can't make the playoffs. It's very hard, uphill battle. Only I think 2 teams have ever made the Super Bowl starting the season 0-2. So everybody's going to look at that. But for me, every year there's a couple surprises, both 2-0 and 0-2. I think St. Louis is going to be one of those surprises to start the season 2-0, and I'm going to make them my video best bet. Guys, we're going for 3 in a row with it. We hit the first 2 weeks, and they were both easy. Let's see if we can get this one this week. take St. Louis over the Washington Redskins. We'll go ahead and lay the points. And guys, don't forget, you can check out your favorite handicapper at Wager Talk, and you can get all of their plays for the weekend, Thursday through Monday, for just $69 with our weekend all-access package. Several guys have big plays, including myself. I'll have a 5% play on Saturday. You can check everything out over at wagertalk.com. And to see all of our weekend videos, head on over there and click on the video podcast tab at the site, and you can check out all the videos.